Hello wonderful interpreters, and thank you again for tuning in. You already saw the title of this video and the thumbnail. We have lots of things to talk about, so let's get started. So LNI emailed this bulletin to interpreters yesterday at 2:30 p.m. Please feel free to pause this video at any time in order to read the information that you see on the screen. So hopefully all of you have read this email. While LNI wants us to believe that they are making an effort to sympathize with us by acknowledging the challenges with all the changes, the reality is that they broke the law by implementing these changes in the middle of our election process, as we have exposed before, and they will have to answer for this very soon. Now, you can see how they start misrepresenting the truth here from the very beginning. Here they start by saying that they implemented the scheduling system 3 months ago as directed by the legislature. There you have it, a very slick attempt to plant their excuses into your brain. But you can click the link that they have provided here for the Washington State Legislature. What does it really say? Let's see. Here you see the law that we have talked about ad nauseum. The underlined words here say that no later than September 1st, 2020, LNI must purchase in-person spoken interpreter services directly from interpreters or through limited contracts with scheduling organizations or both. So the law, in fact, directed LNI to make one choice out of 3, okay? One of those choices included the dual system when it says or both, but they chose the scheduling system and to restrict independent interpreters influenced by WFSE Local 1671 leaders who do not legally represent LNI interpreters, and that's why we're here. It amazes me how they contradict themselves, because they even acknowledged the law gave them 3 choices back in December last year on their report to the legislature, thanks to the amendment that we passed. Here on the second page of the report, you can see how they admitted the legislative requirement to purchase in-person spoken language services directly from language access providers and or scheduling organizations through limited contracts. But now they are saying they were directed to implement the scheduling system as a way to make you accept their excuses, because this implementation has obviously failed miserably. Going back to almost the end of the announcement, here they are also protecting interpretingWorks by saying that interpreters are not getting paid because of mismatched worker names and missing claim numbers. Yes, and that's MyLanguageLink, aka interpretingWorks' fault, because why on earth wouldn't they make sure that they have the right information on their bills to see if a claim is open or if it matches with the name of the patients, right? Before submitting them to LNI, instead of blaming medical providers and the staff in those offices. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. You see, I've held many LNI billing workshops during the last 3 years, and this is something that LNI emphasizes, that they have provided interpreters and agencies with the means to confirm the status of a claim, like you see right here. These are some of the slides from their own presentation, and as you see right here as well, they keep on telling you the same thing. Here, they even instruct people to call the employer when all else fails, if you don't know who to bill. But in this case, why didn't interpretingWorks call the medical providers and LNI in order to verify they had the right information before submitting the bills? You see what the problem is? Now, an interpreter shared this with me. This interpreter contacted LNI about this company not paying them, but this interpreter was told that they're not the employer for the interpreters, that LNI is, even though interpretingWorks deposits the money. Now, this is the response that this interpreter received from LNI, where they're telling this interpreter that interpretingWorks is in fact the employer and to talk to them about payment issues. What a joke this has become, huh? interpretingWorks was misrepresenting the truth from the beginning, according to this interpreter, and LNI simply keeps washing their hands off of this. What a mess! So going back to the end of the announcement, Karen Jost from LNI says that they're working on a permanent solution. This is the same lady who wanted to contract out interpreting services at LNI because they didn't want to be responsible for quality assurance. I have talked about this in my previous videos, but how about you do this, Karen? How about you let go of this policy right here, okay? How about you guys lift the restrictions on all independent interpreters and let us bill directly again without limiting us to only bill for walk-in, urgent care, and emergency appointments. That way providers can choose when to deal with this incompetent company anyways, and when to choose an independent interpreter. How about recognizing that this implementation has been a failure from the beginning and illegally imposed to begin with? How about LNI taking a step back in order to wait for the union that will win this election, so that we, the workers, can decide on how to deal with the scheduling system? But you guys won't do that, will you? Well, on top of all of that, they're not really being honest and transparent about what's happening with their platform. You guys remember that we reported a data breach with MyLanguageLink, aka interpretingWorks, back on May 18th, right? Now, in that video, I remember sharing with you this email from a medical provider explaining her concern and how the portal was breached on May 16th, as you see right here. She was concerned with the lack of communication from interpretingWorks as well. Many interpreters reported to us that interpretingWorks was blaming the person who discovered the data breach, also claiming that somebody had hacked them. The medical provider was Kathy Bradford, a prominent medical provider from the Mount Vernon area. You remember this. The funny thing is that WFSE Local 1671 leaders now have labeled my videos as conspiracy theories, huh? Well, even after we have always have exposed all of their corruption and secret dealings. Why don't we put that to the test, shall we? Well, so here, this is once again where conspiracy theories become reality. This is the official notice of the data breach sent by LNI on July 1st. To one of the patients affected by this horrible incident, and of course to Jeff Pollack, the lawyer representing many injured workers affected by this, and we also had him in our live stream. Let's read the underlined words here. Well, it says right here, notice of data breach. Dear Mr. Pollack, the Department of Labor and Industries, LNI, is investigating a data breach of an interpreter scheduling system owned by a company called interpretingWorks. You are receiving this letter because our records show that you represent X patient here. For your convenience, a copy of this notification with instructions for requesting credit monitoring in Spanish is enclosed for you to provide to your client. So what happened? It says here, on the morning of Sunday, May 16th, 2021, as we have reported before, a representative of a physical therapy clinic who was authorized to access the system was confirming interpreter appointments when she noticed that she could see appointments for workers who were not patients at the clinic. She immediately contacted interpretingWorks, and they supposedly immediately removed the clinic's access to the records. It says at this time, it appears that the information, if you see the underlined words here, it says at this time it appears that the information of 84 workers was viewed, but it is possible that up to 3,000 workers' records were accessible. LNI was notified of the breach on Monday, May 17th, 2021. But of course, they couldn't report that to LNI on Sunday, right? Because, oh, it was Sunday. Oh my gosh, we couldn't do anything about it. Don't tell me that's an excuse. You should have at least contacted LNI somehow. There is a phone number that you could call, leave a voicemail. That was an emergency. The incompetence, it's unbelievable. So let's keep on reading here. What information was involved? Records included the worker's name, the date and time of the appointment, the language of the worker, and in some instances, the LNI's claim number, the identity of the provider, the type of appointment, such as physical therapy. Oh my gosh, what a mess. So what are we doing? It says this possible release of your confidential information may put you at risk for identity theft. Oh, you think? And it says they're offering this person and all these patients identity theft protection services, 1 year of free credit and cyber scan monitoring, $1 million insurance reimbursement policy, and identity theft recovery services. My gosh. So this notice ends with LNI deeply regretting any inconveniences that this may have caused. Aw, like that's gonna fix it, right? So there you have it. This is really serious, okay? This is what we're dealing with. All thanks to WFSE Local 1671 leaders and LNI, okay? LNI interpreters now have to deal with a company that's clearly incompetent, okay? With a horrible customer service whose owner disrespects and verbally abuses interpreters for simply asking to get paid. I mean, this is unbelievable. And says that interpreters don't deserve whatever the heck she thinks she's doing for interpreters. It's unbelievable. A company that cannot even protect private data, along with the very sensitive information from patients and providers. It's very easy for LNI now to apologize after the fact, ignoring that we have been warning them about why it was a bad idea to choose this company from out of the state to begin with, and whose owner has been proven to be involved with WFSE Local 1671 leaders. And on top of that, they're clearly incapable of handling the LNI interpretation system. This implementation has also caused a lot of strain between interpreters and medical providers. Many interpreters are not even getting paid, and now many patients are at risk of identity theft. Now, do you still think this is a conspiracy? So guys, LNI is not going to listen to us, okay? So now, while LNI will have to answer for all of this at the hearing for our legal complaint, we will still have an election afterwards, okay? We need a union. However, we will keep active and engaged with you in the meantime, informing you of all these things, helping you in any way we can, and providing you with important interpreting resources. From now on, and when the election comes, I want you to remember that WFSE Local 1671 leaders destroy their own DSHS system where interpreters don't get enough appointments or mileage reimbursement. You remember that, right? We have exposed that here. And now they have brought all of this damage to the LNI system, imposing their will without legally representing LNI interpreters, but still bragging about their supposed experience and power. This is unbelievable. I mean, you cannot make this up. In closing, I do have a message for those of you taking appointments through this incompetent company, and for all of you long-time and established LNI interpreters out there. I want you to first tune out any negativity and make an educated decision about the union that you will support when the election comes. Because on the one hand, you have WFSE Local 1671, the union that brought all this mess, who cannot admit defeat and made these choices for you, negotiated all of these changes without our permission, without being the LNI representative for a union. On the other hand, you have groups out there whose leaders have not done anything whatsoever, but they're still causing division. These individuals only offer gossip and criticism without any solutions, making promises that they cannot keep, while still asking you for your hard-earned money from what we hear. So they do not contribute anything whatsoever. They have the least amount of support. They're gonna be out of this very soon according to the law that challenges them. They refuse to accept their reality. I'm telling you all of this because we have to have our house in order. See, WFSE has destroyed their DSHS side of things, and look what they have done with the LNI system. So we have a chance to have our union, but we have to unite first. So come and support this movement, Washington interpreters. We have exposed WFSE's agenda. We have made LNI accountable. We have triggered this election, and we are in the lead by far. We do stand for a dual system where independent interpreters can contract with LNI without restrictions, and we also support a functional scheduling system, but with a company that actually pays on time for those who want it. Find instructions in the description below to send us your signed card. Like this video and subscribe to this channel in order to keep on getting more relevant information for our interpreting community. See you in the next video. Do not lose hope. And as always, God bless.